6 hidden signs a woman wants to give herself to you, psychology tricks. Love is not about possession, it's about appreciation. There's a truth most men miss, not because you're clueless, but because women rarely say these things out loud. Right now, there may be a woman in your life sending signals so quiet, so subtle, that you're walking straight past them without realizing what she's really offering you. Pause for a moment. Hear this. If you've ever asked yourself, does she actually want to open up to me? Not just casual interest, but a deeper kind of openness, emotional, mental, and soul level. This is where things start to make sense. And stay with me until the end, because here's the key most men never learn. Seeing the signs is only half the game. How you respond determines whether you draw her closer or push her away without knowing why. Most men look for obvious signals. Women don't work that way. They reveal attraction through tiny fractures in their emotional armor, the armor they wear to protect themselves from disappointment. You'll notice it when it happens. Her body reacts before her mind does. Her voice softens without intention. She finds herself pulled toward you, even when she tries to hide it behind confidence, humor, busyness, or distance. A woman doesn't give herself easily. When she begins to open, it's because something in you makes her feel safe. She doesn't have to perform respected. She's not being played drawn in, a pull she can't fully explain, understood without having to explain everything. And no, this isn't about obvious physical cues or cheap tricks. This is about deep emotional energy, the kind she only reveals to a man she trusts with the softest parts of herself. You're about to step into her inner world, a place most men never get access to. So take a breath. Let go of past confusion. Forget the guessing, the overthinking, the fear of misreading her intentions. From here on, clarity replaces doubt. Because next, we're going to break down the first of 6 hidden signs, and chances are you've seen it before. You just didn't know what it meant. Stay with me. This is where understanding begins. 1. She wants you closer, but she'll never tell you that directly. She wants you closer, but she will never say it out loud. Not because she is confused, not because she is playing games, but because in female psychology, desire rarely travels through direct language. It moves through behavior, timing, and subtle emotional gravity. And if you are waiting for a bold confession, you will miss the quiet invitation happening right in front of you. Because when a woman begins to want to give herself to you emotionally, mentally, even spiritually, her defenses do not crash down in a dramatic moment. They soften slowly, they bend gently, they flicker in ways that feel almost accidental. And those flickers are the entire message. Yet most men overlook them because they are trained to look for noise instead of nuance, to wait for obvious signals instead of reading instinctive reactions. But attraction at a psychological level never announces itself. It whispers. That whisper shows up in how she positions herself closer without noticing, how her voice changes when you speak, how she remembers small details you never thought mattered. It appears in how she mirrors your rhythm, your pace, your pauses. That is where psychology tricks are misunderstood, because this is not manipulation. This is awareness. This is learning to see what is already there. So don't force clarity where emotion is still unfolding. Don't pressure her to explain what she hasn't fully named yet. Be present, be calm, be grounded. Because when a woman feels safe enough to soften, she begins to test closeness in invisible ways. She lingers in conversations that could have ended. She asks questions that go past facts and move into values, fears, and memories. She creates moments where silence feels comfortable rather than awkward. That is not accidental. That is her nervous system leaning toward yours. And you must understand this clearly. She is not moving closer because of a line you used or a tactic you tried. She is responding to how you make her feel when nothing is being demanded. That is the core of how to fall in love. Because love does not grow from pressure. It grows from permission. One of the hidden signs most men miss is how she allows you to see parts of her that are unfinished, uncertain, or still becoming. Not through dramatic vulnerability, but through casual honesty, small admissions, offhand comments that reveal her inner world. And when she does this, Don't interrupt. Don't correct. Don't rush to solve. Just listen. That is the test, because attention without agenda is rare. And rarity creates value. Another sign is how her body responds before her words do. She leans in when you speak, even if the room is quiet. Her feet angle toward you, even when others are present. Her expressions soften when you enter her space. These are not rehearsed behaviors. They are instinctive responses driven by female psychology. You must not overreact to them. Don't call them out. Don't tease her about it. Don't make her self-conscious, because the moment she feels observed instead of understood, the softness pulls back. So be steady, be warm, be consistent. Consistency is what allows attraction to deepen into trust. And trust is what opens the door to emotional surrender. Here is where many men fail without realizing it. They confuse escalation with connection. They push for labels, definitions, outcomes, while she is still deciding how safe it feels to move closer. But emotional closeness is not a switch. It is a gradual alignment. One powerful signal of that alignment is when she begins to include you in her future language, not with grand plans, but with small assumptions, casual mentions of things you might do together later, subtle references that place you beside her in moments that haven't happened yet. When that happens, don't joke it away. Don't minimize it. Acknowledge it calmly. That sounds nice. I'd enjoy that. Simple words, grounded words, because affirmation without intensity allows her to continue leaning in. This is where psychology tricks are misunderstood again. The real skill is not doing more, it is doing less and holding space better. Another hidden sign is how she reacts when you pull back slightly. Not as a test, but naturally. If she reaches out, checks in, or adjusts her behavior to reestablish connection, that tells you something important. Emotional investment reveals itself when distance feels noticeable. Don't abuse this. Don't disappear. Don't create anxiety. Just notice the pattern. Because noticing is power. And power handled gently builds attraction, while power used carelessly breaks it. One of the deepest signs is when she begins to relax her self-protection around you, not by oversharing, but by being less guarded, less performative, more real. She stops trying to impress and starts trying to be understood. When that shift happens, you must rise to it. Be dependable, be emotionally available, be someone who doesn't flinch when depth appears. This is the stage where how to fall in love becomes real, not as a fantasy, but as a shared experience built moment by moment. Understand this clearly. She is not giving herself to you because you convinced her. She is doing it because her body, mind, and emotions feel aligned in your presence. Alignment comes from how you show up repeatedly, not from intensity, not from pressure, not from performance. So don't rush, don't demand, don't assume. Be patient, be observant, be intentional, because the signs are already there. Quiet but consistent, soft but unmistakable. And when you learn to recognize these signals through female psychology, you stop chasing clarity and start attracting closeness. That is when a woman doesn't need to tell you she wants to be closer, because her entire way of being around you already has. 2. You'll see it in how she listens to you. You'll see it in how she listens to you. Not casually, not politely, but with full presence, the kind of attention she does not give to most people. She doesn't check her phone. She doesn't rush to respond. She stays with your words as if they matter, because to her, they do. And that is never accidental. When a woman listens like that, she is not just hearing sounds, she is studying tone, meaning, intention. She is feeling you. You'll feel it too in the way her eyes linger a second longer than necessary, not out of desire in the obvious sense, but out of emotional curiosity. She's not undressing you with her eyes. She's understanding you with them. That is an important distinction. Don't confuse attention with impulse. Be smart enough to see the difference, because emotional curiosity is far more revealing than surface attraction, and it is one of the clearest signs that something deeper is forming beneath the surface. As this connection grows, something subtle begins to shift inside her. She starts valuing your opinions more than she expected to, Not because you demand agreement, not because you try to impress, but because the way you think feels grounded, considered, and calm. She asks what you think, then actually waits for the answer. She reflects on it later. She brings it up again. That is respect taking shape, and respect is the quiet foundation of attraction. Don't rush this stage. Don't test it. Be consistent. Be thoughtful. Be real. A high-value man doesn't push his influence. He earns it by being steady and clear, especially when no one is watching. Then something even more telling happens. She lets you into conversations she doesn't have with anyone else, not the dramatic confessions you see in movies, but the real ones, the unfinished thoughts, the questions she hasn't answered for herself yet, the ideas she usually keeps private. This is where many men make a mistake. They interrupt, they lecture, they try to fix. Don't do that. Don't perform. Just listen. Be present. That is your role here. Because when a woman opens that door, she is not asking for solutions. She is checking for safety. And safety is what allows attraction to deepen. You must understand this. Emotional access is never given all at once. It is tested in small moments, then expanded when it feels right. You'll notice something else too. She begins mirroring your energy without realizing it. Your tone, music, your humor, your pace. That's not coincidence. That's alignment happening underneath her awareness. Mirroring is one of the most honest signals in human connection. It cannot be forced. It cannot be faked for long. When she starts matching your rhythm, your timing, even your pauses, her nervous system is syncing with yours. This is not strategy. This is instinct. And it tells you that she feels regulated and calm around you. Don't break that rhythm by becoming performative. Don't suddenly try to impress. Be exactly who you have been. Because what she is responding to is not effort, but authenticity. This is how you attract women without chasing them. You let alignment do the work. At this stage, your masculine energy matters more than anything you say. Not in a loud way, not in a confrontational way, but in a grounded, settled way. Your ability to stay composed, your comfort with silence, your ease with not needing approval. That is what she feels when she leans in emotionally. Don't explain yourself too much. Don't overshare to seem relatable. Be centered, be clear, be comfortable in your own presence. That is what makes a man feel safe to open up to, and safety is what transforms curiosity into desire. You may notice that she starts remembering small things you mentioned weeks ago. A passing comment, a detail about your past, something you didn't think mattered. That is attention investing itself. People remember what they care about. This is simple psychology, not magic. Don't dismiss it. Don't downplay it. Just notice and respond with appreciation, not surprise. Say, I'm glad you remembered that. That is enough. Affirmation without intensity keeps the connection flowing naturally. As this dynamic continues, she begins to seek your reactions more often. Not validation, but orientation. She looks to you when something happens, to see how you interpret it. This is subtle leadership forming, not control, not authority, but presence. And this is where being a high-value man shows itself most clearly. You don't rush to judge. You don't exaggerate emotion. You respond thoughtfully. You create emotional steadiness. And that steadiness becomes attractive because it offers clarity in a world that often feels chaotic. There will be moments where she shares something personal, then quickly downplays it. Don't chase it, don't press, just acknowledge it and move forward naturally. That tells her you respect her boundaries. Respect builds trust. Trust builds openness. And openness creates the conditions where a woman begins to want to give more of herself, emotionally and mentally, without being asked. You may also notice that she starts adjusting her schedule, subtly making room for you. Not grand gestures, small choices, a call returned sooner, a conversation extended. Time, once guarded, becomes flexible. Time is the most honest currency. Don't waste it. Be punctual, be reliable, be engaged. Reliability is one of the most underrated ways to attract women, especially as people grow older and value peace over excitement. When she mirrors your humor, when she adopts your phrasing, when she starts anticipating your reactions, that alignment deepens. This is not about losing individuality. It is about resonance. two people tuning to the same frequency, and resonance feels effortless. Don't disrupt it with games. Don't test her interest. Be mature. Be direct when necessary. Calm always. This is masculine energy at its best. Quiet confidence, measured action, emotional control without suppression. At some point, she may begin to talk about the future in small, casual ways, not promises, not commitments, just assumptions. You'd like this place. You'd get along with them. Pay attention. Don't exaggerate the meaning. Don't dismiss it either. Respond warmly. Yeah, I probably would. Simple, grounded. This signals openness without pressure. Pressure closes doors. Warmth opens them. If she ever pulls back slightly, don't panic. Don't chase. Don't withdraw completely either. Stay consistent. Emotional rhythms have natural ebbs and flows. Your job is not to control them, but to remain steady through them. That steadiness reinforces everything she has already begun to feel. This is how a high-value man stands out without trying to stand out. Remember this, she is not responding to tricks. She is responding to how she feels when she is with you, calm, seen, understood, free. That is what masculine energy provides when it is healthy and grounded. And that is why these signs appear quietly, not dramatically. They are not meant to impress you. They are meant to test alignment. So don't rush. Don't force clarity too early. Be present. Be consistent. Be intentional. Let her listening, her mirroring, her curiosity, and her quiet investment speak for themselves. Because when a woman wants to give herself to you emotionally, she doesn't announce it. She shows it. And if you are paying attention, you'll know exactly what you're seeing. If this hit home, don't just nod and move on. Act. Drop a comment right now and write this sentence exactly as it is. I recognize alignment when it shows up. Like this video, subscribe for more sharp, grounded insight, and remind yourself daily, when a woman mirrors your presence, it's not chance, it's connection. 3. When a woman starts giving you the gentler version of herself. When a woman begins to show you the gentler version of herself, the part she doesn't hand out to the world, you are not watching a performance. You are witnessing trust in motion. Understanding this is not about tricks, it is about awareness. Awareness is power in modern life. Power without clarity is wasted. The lowered voice is not submission, it is comfort. The softened expression is not weakness, it is safety. The small gesture of tucking hair behind her ear is not strategy. It is the body choosing openness over defense. When her breathing slows and deepens around you, that calm is the loudest signal you will ever receive. Instinct speaks before words. Always. As Carl Jung said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Your role as a man is not to chase signals. Your role is to become the kind of presence that invites them. In a world addicted to noise, speed, and surface-level attention, the man who can hold steady silence stands apart. The man who listens without rushing, who looks without staring, who speaks without forcing. He wins quietly. This is where Old Stoic wisdom steps in and reminds you that self-control is more persuasive than pressure. Patience outlasts urgency. Calm confidence reshapes rooms without effort. Women at every age recognize emotional safety faster than charm, faster than money, faster than words. Your posture matters. Your pace matters. Your tone matters. When you move slowly, when you don't seek validation, when you don't explain yourself excessively, you project certainty. Certainty relaxes people. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." Applied here, it means you don't mirror chaos. You don't react emotionally. You stay grounded. Staying grounded is not passive. It is active discipline. It is an iron mind forged through experience, reflection, and restraint. An iron mind does not chase desire. It attracts it through presence. Modern dating culture tells men to impress, to escalate, to push forward. Psychology and lived experience tell a deeper truth. People open when they feel unthreatened. A woman's gentler side emerges only when she senses consistency, respect, and emotional steadiness, not excitement spikes that fade by morning. When she softens around you, she is not testing you. She is responding to how you hold yourself, how you manage your emotions, how you handle silence, how you treat others when nothing is to be gained. Mastery of self equals mastery of outcomes. Relationships are not won through tactics. They are earned through character. Seneca said, "He who is brave is free." Bravery here means resisting the urge to rush intimacy, resisting the need to label, resisting the temptation to read signs obsessively. Obsession kills attraction. Calm curiosity feeds it. The man who understands this moves differently, speaks differently, lives differently. In daily life, this means slowing your walk, finishing your sentences without filler, keeping your word in small things, putting your phone down when someone speaks, holding eye contact without demanding a response, choosing composure over reaction. These behaviors train your nervous system to lead instead of follow. When your nervous system is regulated, others unconsciously align with it. This is Stoicism win in action, not as philosophy on a page, but as lived practice. Emotional regulation becomes your edge. Your edge becomes your identity. Desire does not grow in pressure, it grows in space. When you provide that space through calm presence, her gentler self steps forward naturally. Not because you pulled it out, but because you made it safe to appear. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery today means not being ruled by instant gratification, not being shaken by mixed signals, not being pulled off center by attraction alone. Attraction without grounding leads to confusion. Attraction anchored in self-respect leads to clarity. This clarity is what older men understand intuitively, and younger men often learn the hard way. Your value is not proven through pursuit. It is proven through standards, boundaries, and quiet confidence. This mindset reshapes how women experience you. People feel when they are a choice, not a necessity. Bringing old Stoic wisdom into modern relationships means remembering that strength is calm, leadership is stability, confidence is consistency. When you embody that, the signs you notice go beyond voice and gestures. They show up in shared silence, unforced laughter, and the absence of tension. This is iron mind territory again. You observe without clinging, appreciate without grasping, move forward without forcing outcomes. The man who masters himself masters his environment. The man who masters his environment lives with intention. Stop overanalyzing messages. Stop decoding every pause. Stop demanding certainty before it arrives. Focus instead on becoming emotionally fit, physically present, mentally clear. When your life is ordered, your energy is attractive. Attraction follows order the way smoke follows fire. Stoicism win is not about suppressing emotion. It is about directing it, channeling it, using it to build rather than to beg. When you do this consistently, relationships stop feeling like games and start feeling like alignment. Viktor Frankl said, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Changing yourself is the highest leverage move you can make. Once you do, the world responds differently. People respond differently. Women respond differently. Not because you demanded it, but because you earned it through presence. Old Stoic wisdom reminds you that what you control is your response, your standards, and your behavior. When those are solid, signs become confirmations, not questions. Iron mind discipline keeps you relaxed in uncertainty, steady in attraction, and grounded in connection. That is how you win in modern life. Calmly, decisively, with quiet authority. 4. When she wants to give herself to you. When she wants to give herself to you, something slow, subtle, and deeply intentional begins to unfold. And this is exactly where most men misread the moment, because they are trained to look for loud signals, while she is speaking in quiet ones. And you must understand this if you want to grasp what is really happening beneath the surface, because when a woman reaches that inner decision, she does not rush, she does not announce it, she does not dramatize it, She becomes attentive in a way that feels natural, but is anything but accidental. She starts tuning into your emotional state as if it matters to her nervous system. She notices when your mood dips, even if you smile through it. She senses when your energy changes before you name it. And that sensitivity is not random. That is investment. Be clear about that, because women do not invest emotional energy lightly, not at this stage of life, not when experience has taught them to protect their inner world. And this is where female psychology reveals one of its most misunderstood truths. Emotional attention is the currency of intimacy, and when she spends it on you consistently, she is already choosing you in ways that go beyond words. She remembers the small details you once mentioned without emphasis, things you might not even remember saying. The offhand comment about a stressful deadline, the story about a family habit, the quiet ambition you brushed aside with humor, and she brings these details back at moments that feel almost perfectly timed, not to impress you, not to show off, but because your inner life has become important to her. And you must not dismiss that as politeness or coincidence, because it is neither. It is focus, and focus follows meaning. She checks in on you without calling it checking in, without framing it as concern, without making it heavy. She asks casual questions that open emotional doors. She sends messages that feel light but land deep. And this is one of those psychology tricks that isn't a trick at all. It's instinct refined by emotional intelligence. And here is where many men get it wrong. They assume she is just being nice, just being supportive, just being herself. But female psychology is precise. An emotional investment always has a reason. A woman invests emotionally only when she senses a man who makes her feel understood without interrogation, grounded without control, and safe without dependency. And safety here does not mean weakness or fragility. It means consistency. It means emotional steadiness. It means knowing she can show up as herself without managing your reactions. And you must take this seriously, because when she begins to invest, she is quietly asking important questions. Can this man hold space for me? Can he stay present when things are not exciting? Can he listen without turning everything into a solution? Can he remain calm when emotions surface? And if the answer keeps leaning toward yes, her investment deepens. She becomes more emotionally available without announcing it, more responsive without chasing, more aligned without forcing. And this is how to fall in love in a mature, grounded way, not through intensity alone, but through trust built moment by moment. Don't rush her signals. Don't demand clarity too early. Don't pressure her to define something she is still feeling into. Be patient. Be observant. Be emotionally literate, because real attraction at this level grows in calm soil, not chaos. And this is where psychology tricks often get misunderstood. Men hear the phrase and think manipulation, strategy, control. But the most powerful psychology tricks are rooted in awareness and restraint, in knowing when to speak and when to simply be present, in understanding female psychology well enough to respond rather than react. Because when a woman feels emotionally understood, her nervous system relaxes, her defenses soften, her curiosity deepens, and that is when she starts offering more of herself naturally. She shares thoughts she usually keeps guarded. She reveals concerns she doesn't broadcast. She invites you into her inner world without making it a performance. And you must honor that. Don't trivialize it. Don't rush to label it. Don't test it, because emotional investment is fragile in its early stages, and mishandling it can shut it down quietly. And here's something many men between 35 and 70 learn only through experience. Attraction that lasts is not built on constant excitement. It is built on emotional safety paired with respect, and female psychology responds deeply to men who are grounded in themselves, who don't need constant validation, who don't push for reassurance, who don't confuse availability with entitlement. And this is how to fall in love without drama, how to fall in love without losing yourself, how to fall in love in a way that feels steady instead of consuming. And when she wants to give herself to you, she is not handing you her body or her time first. She is offering you her attention, her emotional energy, her care. And that is always the first gift. Notice how she adjusts to your emotional rhythm, how she slows down when you seem overwhelmed, how she encourages without pressuring, how she supports without taking over. These are not accidental behaviors. They are signs of emotional alignment. And this is where understanding female psychology gives you clarity instead of confusion. Because once you see these patterns, you stop guessing and start recognizing. You stop chasing and start receiving. You stop overthinking and start responding appropriately. And you must respond with steadiness, with appreciation, with emotional presence, because that is what reinforces her sense of safety. Don't interrogate her intentions. Don't rush to define the relationship before the emotional foundation is set. Don't turn vulnerability into leverage. Be the man who can sit with uncertainty calmly, because calm is attractive at this stage of life. Emotional maturity is attractive. Consistency is attractive. And this is not about playing games or memorizing lines. This is about becoming someone who understands how human connection actually deepens, because the best psychology tricks are invisible. They look like respect. They sound like listening. They feel like stability. And when you embody that, female psychology responds almost effortlessly. She leans in emotionally. She invests more deeply. She feels free to choose you without pressure. And choice is everything, because love that is chosen freely carries weight. And if you want to know how to fall in love in a way that endures, pay attention to what she gives before she ever says it out loud. Notice the care, the memory, the timing, the subtle check-ins, the emotional attunement. Because when a woman wants to give herself to you, she has already begun, quietly, thoughtfully, and with intention. And the man who recognizes that and meets it with steadiness is the man she feels safe continuing with. And that is the real lesson hidden inside female psychology. Not manipulation, not performance, but awareness, presence, and emotional integrity, practiced consistently, day after day, until connection becomes something neither of you has to question. If this opened your eyes, don't just watch and move on. Like the video, subscribe for more insights on female psychology and real psychology tricks that actually work, and share this with a man who needs clarity instead of confusion. Now engage with the channel by commenting the sentence below to lock it in your mind and make it part of how you show up from now on. She gives herself first through attention, and I meet it with calm, understanding, and safety. Drop that exact sentence in the comments and let it remind you how to fall in love the right way. 5. She becomes vulnerable in small, unplanned moments. She becomes vulnerable in small, unplanned moments, and this is one of the most revealing signs a woman cannot fully control, no matter how composed or confident she appears. And there's another signal she can't hide. It doesn't arrive with dramatic timing or a serious conversation. It slips out quietly, unexpectedly, almost accidentally. One moment you're talking about something ordinary, and the next she shares a fear she rarely names out loud. She admits a mistake without softening it or turning it into a joke. She reveals a dream she keeps buried, not because she expects you to fix it, but because something in her hopes you will understand it. That is not random. That is emotional risk, and you must recognize it for what it is. Vulnerability shows up when she feels just enough safety to lower her guard, even briefly, not in rehearsed speeches, not in planned confessions, but in small, unplanned moments where truth slips through before her mind can stop it. A sentence she didn't mean to finish, a pause that lingers too long, a laugh that turns thoughtful. This is how a woman tests emotional ground. Gently, carefully. She opens the door just a little, not to rush intimacy, but to see what kind of man is standing there. Don't miss this moment. Don't rush past it. Don't treat it casually, because vulnerability is not weakness. It is trust in motion. When she shares a fear, she is not asking for reassurance on demand. She is watching how you respond. Do you stay present or change the subject? Do you listen or minimize? Do you rush to solve or do you simply hold space? Be clear about this. A high-value man understands that emotional presence matters more than clever words. He doesn't interrupt vulnerability with advice unless it's asked for. He doesn't turn her honesty into a lecture. He doesn't joke it away to ease his own discomfort. He stays grounded, calm, attentive. That is masculine energy expressed through restraint, not force. When she admits a mistake, especially one that carries emotion or regret, she is doing something very intentional. She is showing you a part of herself that is not polished, not curated, not impressive. And that takes courage. You must respond with maturity. Don't judge, don't correct, don't turn it into a lesson. Be steady, be respectful. A man who can witness vulnerability without reacting defensively is a man who can attract women at a deeper level, not through performance, through presence. And when she reveals a dream she keeps buried, something personal, something unfinished, something she rarely shares, that is one of the clearest signals of emotional openness. Dreams are tied to identity, to hope, to fear of disappointment. When she lets you see that, even briefly, she is allowing you into her inner world. Just a step, just enough to observe how you handle it. Don't dismiss it as idle talk. Don't immediately analyze whether it's realistic. Don't redirect the conversation back to yourself. You must treat that moment with care, because how you respond determines whether that door opens wider or quietly closes. Vulnerability is a woman's way of opening the door just a little to see if you'll step in or walk away without noticing. That metaphor matters. She is not pushing you through the doorway. She is not demanding emotional intimacy. She is observing, she is learning, and she is deciding. Be the man who notices. Be the man who understands that attraction grows when she feels emotionally safe, not emotionally rushed. This is where many men get confused. They believe attraction is built through confidence alone, through certainty, through leading every moment. But real attraction, the kind that deepens over time, requires emotional intelligence layered onto masculine energy. A high-value man is not emotionally distant. He is emotionally grounded. He doesn't chase vulnerability, but he recognizes it when it appears. He doesn't exploit it. He honors it. When she becomes vulnerable in unplanned moments, she is asking a silent question. Can this man stay steady when I'm honest? Can he listen without needing to control the outcome? Can he hold space without turning it into pressure? And if your response answers yes, something shifts. She relaxes. She opens more naturally. She invests more emotionally. This is how you attract women who are not just interested, but emotionally engaged. Don't confuse vulnerability with oversharing. She is not unloading everything. She is offering a glimpse, a signal, a test of emotional safety. You must meet it with maturity. That means you stay calm, you stay curious, you stay respectful. You don't rush to define the relationship. You don't demand more openness in return. You let her set the pace. That patience is part of masculine energy when it is expressed correctly. Men between 35 and 70 often discover this later in life. They realize that the strongest connections weren't built during intense moments, but during quiet ones. Moments where someone felt safe enough to be real. Vulnerability creates depth only when it is met with steadiness, and that steadiness is what separates a high-value man from someone who is merely confident on the surface. If you want to attract women who open emotionally, you must become someone who can handle emotional truth without flinching. That means you don't get uncomfortable when conversations go deeper than planned. You don't change the subject when feelings appear. You don't treat vulnerability as a problem to solve. You treat it as information, as trust, as a signal. Masculine energy is not about emotional distance. It is about emotional control. The ability to stay centered when emotions arise. The ability to listen without absorbing anxiety. The ability to respond instead of react. When a woman senses that stability, she feels safer sharing more of herself. And that is how attraction evolves from interest into emotional connection. Don't rush these moments. Don't label them too quickly. Don't turn them into expectations. Let them breathe. Let them unfold naturally. Be present. Be attentive. Be grounded. A high-value man understands that vulnerability is not an invitation to push forward aggressively. It is an invitation to slow down and pay attention. And here is the truth many psychology tricks fail to mention. Real connection cannot be forced. It is built when both people feel free to choose it. When a woman becomes vulnerable in small, unplanned moments, she is choosing, quietly. She is observing whether you are someone she can continue choosing. That choice depends less on what you say and more on how you show up. So remember this. When vulnerability appears, pause, listen, stay steady, don't overreact, don't withdraw, step in emotionally, not forcefully. That is how you attract women with depth. That is how masculine energy becomes calming instead of overwhelming. That is how a high-value man builds connection without pressure. And that is how trust grows, one unplanned moment at a time. 6. Sometimes the strongest sign appears when she tries to hide it. Sometimes the strongest signal appears when she tries hardest to hide it, because desire, when it is real, leaks through discipline, restraint, and good intentions like water through stone. This is something every man between 35 and 70 must understand if he wants clarity instead of confusion in modern relationships. Her mind tells her to stay composed, to act normal, to protect her dignity, her reputation, her inner balance. Yet behavior never lies for long. As Carl Jung once said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. That reaction shows up not in words, but in awareness, in attention, in presence. When a woman wants to give herself to you, she becomes finely tuned to you without trying. She tracks your movements without planning to. She notices when you enter a room, when your posture changes, when your voice shifts, when your focus drifts away from her. Even if she keeps her face calm, her body reveals the truth through small, unconscious signals. The slight turn of her torso, the pause before she speaks, the way her energy aligns with yours. In today's world of distractions, phones, noise, and constant stimulation, this kind of focused attention is rare. That is what makes it powerful. Attention is currency, and she is spending it on you. Old Stoic wisdom teaches that what people value, they guard with awareness. When her awareness keeps circling back to you, that is not coincidence. It is instinct. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, nothing happens to anyone that he is not fitted by nature to bear. This dynamic is natural, human, and ancient. Not a trick, not a game. The mistake many men make is rushing to interpret, rushing to react emotionally, rushing to chase confirmation. Stoicism win comes from restraint, from observation, from an iron mind that stays calm while others reveal themselves. When you remain steady, unreactive, grounded, she feels safe enough to let those signals continue, to deepen, to grow clearer over time. Another hidden sign appears in how she regulates distance. Sometimes she stays just close enough to feel you. Sometimes she pulls back just enough to test whether you notice. This push and pull is not confusion. It is calibration. She is measuring your strength, not physical strength, but emotional control, patience, self-respect. Epictetus said, "He who laughs at himself never runs out of things to laugh at." Confidence is quiet, not loud. In modern life, many men broadcast desperation through constant messaging, over-explaining, and emotional flooding. Your advantage is silence, presence, consistency. When she wants to give herself to you, she watches how you handle power, how you handle silence, how you handle not being the center of attention. Another signal is how she mirrors your rhythm, your pace of speech, your breathing, your posture. The body seeks harmony with what it desires. This happens below conscious thought. That is why it cannot be faked for long. She may challenge you lightly, question your opinions, tease you, not to undermine you, but to see if you stand firm without aggression. Old Stoic wisdom teaches that true strength does not need to announce itself. When you respond with calm certainty instead of defensiveness, you pass a test many men fail without realizing it. Over time, her respect deepens into surrender. Not submission, but trust. The kind of trust that opens doors words never could. In a world obsessed with fast results, remember this: attraction grows in silence, in restraint, in patience. Viktor Frankl said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space is our power." That space is where you win. That space is where Stoicism wins lives. When she sees that you do not chase validation, do not panic when attention shifts, do not collapse when she pulls back. Her desire sharpens, her curiosity intensifies, her signals become clearer, stronger, more consistent. The final hidden sign is how she protects the connection without naming it. She remembers small details about you. She defends your absence in conversations. She adjusts her schedule subtly to align with yours, quietly, efficiently. Real desire is efficient. The advice for you is simple but demanding. Slow down. Observe more. Speak less. Lead with calm. Let your actions carry weight. Cultivate Old Stoic wisdom daily. Train your iron mind through discipline, routine, and self-respect. When you master yourself, you master the moment. When you master the moment, you master the dynamic. Victory is not loud. Victory is quiet, steady, undeniable. The kind that does not need chasing because it comes to you on its own terms. If you noticed how her actions speak louder than her words, you're already seeing what most men completely miss. This isn't luck, it's awareness, and awareness is power. Comment this below to lock it in. I see the signs clearly, and I trust my awareness. Drop it in the comments and let the algorithm and yourself know you're no longer blind to what's right in front of you. All right, my friend. Before you go, let me leave you with this. If this video resonated with you, take a breath and really hear this truth. When a woman reaches the point of wanting to give herself to you, it's not about tricks, pressure, or chasing. It's about who you consistently are when no one is watching. That quiet certainty she feels is built over time through your calm presence, your honesty, and the way you make her feel safe to be fully herself. So here's my sincere advice to you. Don't rush her heart and don't perform for her attention. Lead with integrity. Be steady, be clear, and be emotionally grounded. When you show up with respect, direction, and genuine care, the right woman won't feel confused, she'll feel secure. And from that security, real desire naturally grows. If you found value here, stay with me. We'll keep breaking down the psychology that helps you build deeper connection, stronger confidence, and relationships that actually last. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. A woman only lets her mind wander into that future when she feels emotionally safe.